Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Rosenthal. I am a Southwest graduate from the class of '75, and I am the president of the Southwest Eagles Sports Hall of Fame. We are delighted, thank you. We are delighted that you are here to celebrate our inductees, and we hope you enjoyed your meal tonight. This is our third annual induction dinner, and we're proud to say it's our third consecutive sellout. The incredible demand for tickets is a tribute to the great group of athletes and coaches that we are honoring tonight. Mr. Bullness, you're going to have to let the school board know we need a bigger gym for these Hall of Fame dinners. I'd also like to thank, although they've left, Mr. Roque and the Southwest Band for providing entertainment during the early portion of our dinner. Mr. Roque does an amazing job keeping the music alive here at Southwest. I'd like to begin by introducing our Hall of Famers from our first two induction classes that are here tonight. From our first class in 2023 at Table 1 from the class of 1962, Coach Don Solinger. At Table 9, Missy Penna. And at Table 11, Martha Rodriguez Hauregizar. From our second induction class a year ago, Jackie Yaniga at Table 17. And John Hammondtree at Table 6. Thank you to our returning Hall of Famers. The Hall of Fame committee is responsible for the selection of tonight's inductees and putting on the dinner, and I would like to take a moment to introduce my fellow committee members. Our secretary is from the class of 1987 and is mostly responsible for decorating the venue tonight. Her vision is why this gym always looks so great for our dinner. She made the frames on the tables of the inductees, and the inductees can take them with them at the end of the evening. She potted the orchids on your table, and her mom and her made the key lime pie desserts that you enjoyed tonight. She's the hostess with the mostest, Martha Rodriguez Hauregizar, who's standing at Table 1. Continuing with the acknowledgement of my committee members, Angel Menendez, a coach and former athletic director. His fundraising skills have allowed our hall to do more than just put on this dinner, and his ticket selling skills are why we are sold out tonight. Our current athletic director and former baseball coach, George Diaz. From the class of '63, Hall of Famer John Hammondtree. From the class of '64, Jim Kilty, who you will hear from shortly because he is our first inductee tonight. From the class of '65, you met him at the entrance, Richard Rump. From the class of '87, Stephanie Nunez. She is responsible for the video that's been scrolling up here all night. Thank you, Stephanie. Our youngest committee member is from the class of 2000. You also may have met her at the front entrance, Judy Irwin Sanchez. Several of our committee members could not be here tonight. Coach Ritz Diaz, our treasurer Larry Aguero from the class of '98, Coates Watson from the class of '72, Oscar Angulo from the class of '85, Cheryl Golden, who was inducted into this hall a year ago, but is back in Minnesota visiting her family tonight. And our newest committee member, Carlos Wembes. He's out of town with a charity he does annually, Disney on Wheels. I mentioned a moment ago Angel Menendez's fundraising skills. Thanks to him, we have 4 sponsors for tonight's dinner. Our gold sponsor is the Mertz Law Group. We'd like to express our appreciation to Louis Mertz from the class of 1990 for his support. Our silver sponsors are Coastal Construction, AHF Design Studio, and the Riley Law Firm. Coastal's co-president, Tom Murphy, from the class of '87, is here at table 3, and from the class of '89, Bonnie Riley from the Riley Law Firm is at table 1, and we'd like to present them with a token of our appreciation as well. So you may be wondering, why do we need sponsors? Don't the ticket costs cover the costs of the dinner? Yes, but barely. But our hall does more than just putting on this dinner. Last year, we awarded scholarships to 2 Southwest Scholar athletes, badminton player Pierre Paolo Di Canzo and swimmer Daniela Misuthova. This year, we will again award scholarships to deserving seniors. We also have money left over the dinner to support the school, the sports teams, and its booster clubs. For example, a year ago, we donated this sound system to the school for the gym. We paid for several basketball players to attend a summer team camp, and we made donations to the drama club, the cheerleaders, and the band. If you would like to be a sponsor of next year's induction dinner, please see Coach Menendez or myself after tonight's event is over. And even if you are not in the position to be a sponsor, any donation of any size is welcome. Inside your program, opposite the page with Coach Fred Ellis, you will find some QR codes. And you can make a donation by going to our webpage, scrolling down, clicking the yellow donate button, or using the QR code for PayPal at the bottom of the page. And conveniently, the QR code on each table centerpiece will also take you to our PayPal account. We have some dignitaries here tonight, as usual, that I would like to introduce. At table 3, former Eagles basketball player Alex Perez, who is now a director of the school system's Central Region office. Alex, someday you're going to have to explain to me why Gables, which is south of Bird Road, is in your Central Region, but Braddock, which is north of Bird Road's in your South Region. That's not the geography I learned at Southwest, but we also have a couple of former Southwest principals with us tonight. Excuse me. At table 4, we have George Sotolongo. And at table 3, we have Jim Hodge, who is not just a former principal, but a Southwest graduate, and he is now the head of the Miami-Dade Ethics Trust. At table 7, we have a celebrity athlete. Ivy Sanchez placed first in the beam at the state gymnastics tournament. And Autumn Sanchez just finished second in the superintendent's 5K, not among her age group, but among all women. And I've heard their dad, Gabby, played a little Major League Baseball back in the day. At table 1, we have the only person to beat Gables in football as both a player and a head coach, Donnie March, who's here with his father, Don, the president of the class of '63. And speaking of Gables, at table 4, we have their longtime athletic director, Harold Cole. At table 10, we have an unsung hero of Southwest basketball. For 2 decades, he served the Eagles, starting as team manager while he was still at Glades Junior High, and then working his way up to Booster Club president. He's now head of information technology, assistant athletic director, and assistant basketball coach at Jordan Christian Prep in Auburndale. Please welcome back Bill Baker. Speaking of dignitaries, I'd now like to introduce the head Eagle. He is a 1991 graduate who returned to this school 31 years ago, or 31 years later, as our principal, Without him, the Hall of Fame would not exist. Our alma mater has reached new heights under his leadership. A year ago, Southwest was named the #1 large school in America for personal finance teaching. 5 students in the entire country were chosen for prestigious summer programs sponsored by Penn's Wharton School of Finance. Of the 5 students in the entire nation, 2 were Southwest Eagles. This year, we were designated a Florida Purple Star School of Distinction for our extensive support of military families and a Special Olympics National Unified Champion School, which we used to have a banner up there for it, but it's behind me now. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce Miami's finest principal, Mr. George Bullness.
We're very proud of Southwest, and today, being the first day of March, it's very significant to be here today because I want to begin real quickly by sharing the State of the Union right now at Southwest Senior. Southwest Senior currently has an enrollment of 2,560 students. We graduate 97% of our kids. 70% of our students, as of Friday, 70% of our seniors have either passed an AP exam, which allows them to earn credits into college, university. 70% plus of our students have also earned a dual enrollment class in which dual enrollment via Miami-Dade College, FIU, and even the University of Florida, our kids are gaining credits. But I think that if you look at Southwest Senior High School as a stock, the stock is in green and it continues to climb. With 2,560 students and enrollment going up in this day and age, that's very significant. There's so many charter schools, private schools that are out there competing, but yet Southwest, the A-rated school, continues to soar. I want to highlight over the last 3 years that I've been here, I want to almost bullet point just a few quick highlights. Over the last 3 years, we've opened up so much opportunity here at Southwest. We have a cosmetology room that used to only be used for night school, but we've opened up that room and now our kids flourish as one of the electives. As Mike Rosenthal stated, we have our magnet of banking and finance, but we also have a magnet this year of AI, artificial intelligence. Not that the kids are using AI, but creating programs and the blueprint behind AI, led by Vicky Lasso, an amazing instructor. Also, over the last 3 years, very proudly, we've had Mr. Tom Moore pass that baton of basketball to an amazing coach who's here today leading our kids and the amazing young men who have been here today in the back serving us, Mr. Roberto Fat Joe, back here at Southwest leading our students. I have a message that I wanted to give to all of our inductees today. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for paving the road for the many future Eagles who have yet to accomplish the legacy that you have had, that will one day be sitting in here with their very own friends and family. I want to thank you because you're here today because of your hard work, your commitment, your dedication, and always remembering where you came from, because the Eagle's Nest was here for you during your formative years. Your Eagle's Nest is here this evening, and the Eagle's Nest will now carve your names into the archives forever in the Hall of Fame. Thank you to our inductees for reminding us that Southwest is and always will be a place where legends are made. In closing, and I apologize in advance because I know I'm not going to say all of our committee members, but it's important that in closing, I once again thank our teacher, Steph Nunez. Hi, Coach Thomas. I see you right there, too. I want to thank Martha J., my amazing friend and colleague as a principal. I want to say thank you to George Diaz, my athletic director, who's a right-hand man to me. I'd be remiss if I didn't quickly also mention George Sotolongo and Jim Hodge, former principals who created the foundation that we have here today. I also want to go ahead and acknowledge Angel Menendez, my former teacher, who when I first got here, my first day, Angel Menendez was here to give me a hug and congratulate me. And now I want to bring up a man that, in case you don't know him, if you ever come to a volleyball game here at Southwest, this man will be sitting in the table on the north end of the Tom Moore Gym. If you go to a baseball game, he'll be out there in the field, first row, behind the batter's box, right next to the ear of the home plate umpire. This man, who I'm going to bring back up stage right now, when you go to a football game, if he's not in the press box, I have to tell you, one day in particular, Southwest was being beaten in football. You know the football team, if you've been here long enough, it's a healthy organization, but it's had its challenges with other teams. And in this one game, the weather, it was very inclement weather. There was rain and there was wind. And I wondered, which of our fans are still left up there? Here I am with my umbrella. I look back behind into the bleachers, and I see the man with a raincoat on, despite us losing, still cheering our football team. I want to welcome back up, very admirable president. Thank you for being our number one fan, Mr. Mike Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Bullness. Oh, and we have one other. So before we start inducting our special guest tonight, we have a few more people to thank. HOF Jones, the company that provides class rings and school yearbooks, was kind enough to print the programs at your table at no cost to our Hall of Fame. Standing behind the camera here, Matt Leone, my fellow class of 75 graduate, is donating his time tonight to capture the video, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube account in the coming days. Matt and I have announced selected Southwest football games on Facebook Live for about 10 years now. And longtime science teacher Daryl Cunningham is volunteering his time as our photographer again. We thank him. Arbetters Hot Dogs donated the hot dogs tonight, and we're happy that they are back with us for the third straight year. Dave Arbetter, who now runs the establishment, his dad opened it in 1959, and it's been serving Eagles in its current location on Bird Road since 1971. Frankie's Pizza, another local institution, donated the pizzas tonight. Frankie Pasquarella opened his pizza shop 70 years ago last month in 1955, and 2 years later moved to their current location on Bird and 91st. Thank you to his daughters and Southwest alums, Renee and Roxanne, for their continued support of Southwest. Also, a special thank you to another member of the class of '87, Gina Williams, a multi-sport athlete here who now owns Licious, the catering company that prepared the pasta and the chicken and the meatballs that you enjoyed in the back. Excuse me. We thank you again to Gina for the great job she does at our Hall of Fame dinners. Thanks to Party Joe, the company we would rent the tables and chairs from, for giving us the Southwest discount, because Joe's husband happens to be our basketball coach. The eggplant parmesan and the garlic rolls were catered by Paolo Luigi Italian Restaurant in Coconut Grove. Also, a thank you to Coach Hemingway and the Southwest cheerleaders who helped guide you to the gym tonight, and Coach Fat Joe's basketball players who served you dinner and will soon start clearing the plates from your tables. So let's explain how the selections were made. We have a 15-member committee, and our committee nominated many of those under consideration, but we also solicited nominations from the public through social media. In fact, if you'd like to nominate someone for future possible induction in the Hall of Fame, the page opposite Coach Ellis has the QR codes with a link to the nomination form. We considered 43 nominees this year, 38 individuals and 5 teams. Our committee has a subscription to newspapers.com, which allows us to go back and research the accomplishments of Eagles from as far back as the late 50s. I shared this information with my fellow committee members in a 90-page document full of newspaper clippings. We then met weekly in the fall via Zoom. An anonymous vote was held where committee members were prohibited from voting for themselves, and the result of that process is tonight's star-studded class of inductees. We will induct our new Hall of Fame members chronologically by year of graduation, starting with our inductee from the class of 1964. Jim Kilty was a football and track star. He was a member of the 440-yard relay team that set a school record that will never be broken because that event doesn't exist now that the state uses metric distances. In a 6-0 football win over Palmetto, he scored the only points of the game on an 11-yard run that saw him brush off 6 Panther defenders. Kilty also caught 4 passes in that game, in which the Miami Herald referred to him as a one-man gang. His 146 yards against South Dade were the most of any back in Miami in 1964. Upon graduation, he went on to play at Georgia Tech for legendary coach Bobby Dodd. I direct your attention to the video screen for some photos of our next Hall of Famer, Jim Kilty.
Okay, how's everybody tonight? I was planning on just getting up here and saying what an honor it was and split and turn the mic back over to Mike. But on the way over here, I decided, gosh, I loved this place so much back in the day, and I loved every minute of my time here at Southwest, that I would just have to tell a few things about my time here at school. And indeed, I am honored to be here, and I'm totally overwhelmed at the idea of being included in the Southwest High Sports Hall of Fame. Yes, I did. I loved every bit of my time here at Southwest. I loved all the sports that I was involved in. I loved the girls. I actually loved the sock hops that we held here right in this same gymnasium. And, you know, just even though it's been over 60 years since I roamed these halls, I remember it like it was yesterday. And that's amazing in itself, since often I can't remember what I ate for breakfast. But gosh, I did love my time here. And still do. I love this school. And I'm so proud of everything that's still being done here. And Mr. Principal, you're doing a great job. So thank you. And, I was actually a pretty good student here. And in spite of the fact that I may have skipped school a few more days than I should have. Sometimes it wasn't just the entire day. I'd go over to out to lunch, which I know they don't do anymore, and instead of coming back, returning to afternoon class, I would go over to Tropical Park Racetrack where I could watch the horses run. And God, it was beautiful over there. It was beautiful and a lot of fun, and occasionally I'd make a $2 wager and hope for the best. And I remember one afternoon being over there, and I actually won a little money. Not much, not a jackpot, but a little money. And I went up to the pay window to collect my meager winnings. And I stood there and I glanced to my left, and there was none other than head football coach Joe McNulty. Oh man, I knew I was in trouble. And but it's funny, he really never said anything, and I was pretty pleased that I got away, but I immediately turned and headed for the exit. And you can be sure that I never returned to Tropical Park Racetrack during school hours again. Gosh, I loved the coaches that I had while I was here. And I had Coach McNulty and Coach Jupin in football, and my backfield coach, Harry Malios, was somebody I really enjoyed being with. I ran track with Coach Bill Mim.
Alan Fenty is undoubtedly the greatest basketball player in Southwest history. Sorry, Jimmy Aguilas. At 6'6", he was a dominating presence under the basket. A two-time Miami News All-Star, Fenty scored a total of 915 points his junior and senior seasons. His senior year, he was held to less than 15 points only twice. As a junior, Allen averaged 18.2 points a game and 15.2 rebounds. And as a senior, those numbers rose to 25.6 points a game and 19.8 rebounds a game. I think there were a couple games this year where our whole team didn't get 19.8 rebounds. After high school, he played for the legendary basketball coach Bobby Knight at Army, where one of his teammates, you might have heard of, was Mike Krzyzewski. After a 27-year military career, serving his country around the globe, he retired at the rank of colonel. Please take a look at the video screen as you remember the career of Alan Fenty.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I couldn't make it there tonight. So let me start by saying what an honor it is for me to be inducted into the Southwest Miami High School Sports Hall of Fame. Start off by saying thanks to the members of the Hall of Fame committee, and especially a shout out to Mike Rosenthal and Richard Rump for their support. I wouldn't be receiving this recognition without the support of my high school teammates and coaches. Of course, special thanks to Coach Mitchell, who was the head basketball coach at the time. At the same time, I'd like to recognize the teachers and staff of Southwest for their guidance and support as well. You know, I was very fortunate that the coaching staff at West Point recruited me because I never really considered the military academies. But I was lucky to go to West Point because I met a lot of special people there and had the opportunity to play for some great coaches and with some outstanding teammates. After graduating, I owed the Army 5 years of service, but I wound up serving almost 27 years as I enjoyed the challenges of the work and the friendships developed over these years. You know, I started my military career in the infantry, but then I moved on to aviation and finally into the political military arena. But I know that it was my time at Southwest that really allowed me to pursue this career path, so I'm extremely grateful for the support I received there. To my fellow inductees, congratulations on your achievements. It's an honor to be included with you all who have accomplished so much. So with that, I'll end by saying thanks again, and I hope you all have a great evening.
And Mr. Boldness, I never mentioned to him about our Purple Star status. I'm going to have to let him know about that next week. He would be very proud of that. Our third inductee is another one of those 1966 All-Americans. Mike Sheeler is the greatest boys swimmer in school history. He is one of only 3 Eagles athletes to win 3 state championships. As a junior, he was Florida's high school champion in the 200 individual medley and the 100-yard breaststroke, and he repeated as the 200 IM winner at the state meet his senior year. Among his many accomplishments, he defeated Olympian John Nelson in a 200-yard butterfly race while still in high school. I direct your attention to the video board as we remember Mike Sheeler. Mike Sheeler lives in California and was unable to attend tonight. He thanks the committee for honoring him this evening. I think there are 2 or 3 people in the gym tonight because of our next inductee from the class of '75, Tom Moore. He played guard on the basketball team, but is best known for his coaching career that started at age 23 when our head coach at the time, Bill Sullivan, who is at table 4, hired him to coach the JV. 4 years later, Tom took over as head coach, a position he held for 31 years. We have players in attendance tonight spanning his entire career, from Clem Noble, who played for him when he was still the assistant coach in 1983, to Josel Aloma, who played on his final squad 11 years ago and is busy on the telephone right now during his shout-out. His best team was the 2000-2001 group that finished 22-7, led by A.J. Castro, whose parents are here tonight. They were the GMAC runners-up, number 2 in the county. But without a doubt, his biggest victory came during the 1995-96 season when his Eagles shocked Miami High at the Asylum. It was the first home loss for the state champion Stingarees since 1987. The gym we are sitting in tonight is named in his honor. Please direct your attention to the video screen as we remember the career of Coach Tom Moore. He is fond of telling his players that life is all about choices, and this year the Hall of Fame committee chose to induct Coach Tom Moore.
Whoa. Not one tall person out there. Not one tall guy out there. Got to speed up the night. I want to first of all thank the committee for allowing me to be here tonight. I want to thank the administration, Mr. Boldness, because it is certainly a day of thanks. When I was 21 years old, Mike, Bill Sullivan hired me as an assistant coach. Luckily, that very first year, there were 5 guys on that team, and Bill remembers them well, that they had older brothers that played with me when I was here at Southwest. And I really wanted to come in and make an impact on their lives. Then I met the rest of the team and realized that really should be my outlook for every child, for every kid on the team, to treat them as they were the younger brothers of people I played with. I always thought that making an impact on a kid's life was important. But to be able to do that, I was going to need a lot of help. It's not one person. I appreciate the applause. But the reality is the impact that the program had on so many different individuals was because of all the help I got. And I'd like to spend tonight thanking those people. First of all, if you know anything about a high school, if you do not have the support of a principal, you're dead in the water. They control everything you do. They control if you become successful or not. I was very lucky to have 7 principals that allowed me to do my job. They supported me when I needed support. They looked the other way when a confused child was getting corrected. I was very lucky in so many ways. It starts with when I was in school, I had Fred Ellis as my JV football coach and Fred Ellis as my track coach. And when I started teaching, he became a mentor. That's the kind of help you need. So I'd like to thank the principals, Glenda Crawford, Ron Ferrer, George Montata, may they all rest in peace, Carmen Marinelli, George Sotolongo, Jim Hodge, and Carlos Diaz. I'd like to thank all the APs I ever worked with, and we went through a lot of APs. Some were here for a decade, and Mr. Sonlo will remember one was here for an hour and a half. He's now an assistant principal at Gables. The athletic directors, the activities directors, the business managers. To run a program, you have to have their support. And we went through a lot of them also. Again, some here for a long period of time, and some here for a very short period of time. But the people I just mentioned, that's their job in a school. Their job is to support high school people in athletics. But there were people that went beyond the call of duty. They started a booster club in school. Sarah Lee Lamb was one of the original starters. They would go out and get sponsors for each kid. And those sponsors would buy a kid a sandwich on game day or a little gift during the school year. Those sponsors would take a kid and say, you needed some tutoring. We have a math teacher who's willing to tutor you, or an English teacher. As I have been very lucky the last 11 years since my retirement of traveling around the country, I've already put in over 100,000 miles on a car to visit ex-players. And one of the things they talk about is the impact that those sponsors and the people that are involved in the program had on them in life by setting examples. So important in a young person's life to help us make an impact on those kids' lives. We had adults, booster club, we had presidents and treasurers, and we had parents who were willing to go to Joe Robbie Stadium on a Monday night football game, work until 1 o'clock in the morning to make sure those kids had enough money to buy shoes or go to summer camp. When you're a kid, you just don't realize what adults do for you and the impact they have on you. But as you get older, you realize those people, those sponsors, those parents set an example for you guys to become somebody. There was night school principals who assisted. We had one night school principal, Mrs. Helen Olafson, and I know there are a bunch of guys here. She would come to me and say, Coach, who needs the money? Who needs the help? And I'd give her some names. And the next thing I know, those kids were coming up and said, the night school principal wants me to come over and clean her pool. Little thing, impactful for life. And that's what the basketball program did, year in and year out. They impacted somebody's life. Not only me, but all the different adults in here that helped in so many different ways. Sometimes kids are lucky. They got mom and dad at home. They have the money to go to camps. But unfortunately in this world, that's not always the case. So for me to have an impact on a kid, I needed a lot of help. And I got it over and over again. All my assistant coaches became head coaches. They put up with me, and I know from the administrative standpoint, was Mr. Hodge, I didn't always have the right people skills that were required to be politically correct. And yes, sometimes I did delegate up. It was not appreciated, but I needed help, and I got it. To make an impact on a kid's life, there is no better way to live a life as an adult than make an impact on a kid's life. By example, by effort, by help. And that's what the basketball program did for the 31 years I was there. And I know it's continuing now under Coach Fatcher. Even though the language might be different, we send the same message. Those assistant coaches did everything I ever asked. We would literally get in a car, drive to Daytona Beach, drop the kids off for camp, and the assistant coach who couldn't stay for the week would drive back to Miami. At the end of the week, get back in his car, drive up, pick the kids up. They would work Joe Robbie Stadium beyond belief. We had parents that had potluck dinners. We had kids that didn't like to go back to the house because of where they lived, that allowed them to stay at their homes on weekends so they didn't have to go back. Little things, yeah. Impactful things, without a doubt. We wanted to make an impact on their lives, so I thank all the parents, all the adults that helped me make an impact on their lives. At this time, I'd like all the basketball players that are here to stand up. I've talked tonight about making an impact on somebody's life. But the impact that you made on me is far greater than I made on you. You motivated me. You encouraged me. You stood by me. You accepted my mistakes. And I made a lot of mistakes. I did not have a winning record. Not even close. But you made an impact on my life. You encouraged me. You make me proud of what I did for those 31 years. I cannot thank you enough for what you did when you played for me, the work that you did, the effort that you gave, the teammates that you were, but more importantly, the people you have become. I am so proud. Thank you.
Our next inductee is only the second non-Southwest graduate to make the Hall of Fame. Since he doesn't have a graduation year, we're going to count him as 1989, which was his last year teaching here. Fred Ellis was an original faculty member when Southwest opened in 1956 and shaped hundreds of lives as a coach and biology teacher for 34 years. He was an assistant coach on our 1959 state championship track team, then won another state championship in track as our head coach in 1971. He was also head cross-country coach and an assistant football coach. His squads won numerous conference and regional championships, and his coaching produced 7 state champions in individual events. He was named Florida's Track Coach of the Year in 1971 and 1984, and was inducted into the Florida Track Coaches Hall of Fame in 1984 and the Florida Athletic Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 1991. Coach Ellis passed away in 2010 at the age of 82. I direct your attention to the video screen as we remember the career of Coach Fred Ellis. We have a table full of family members here tonight, including two of Fred's daughters, Vicky and Lisa. Accepting the award on behalf of the Ellis family is John DeFeedy, the son-in-law of Coach Ellis.
Good evening. I'm the son-in-law of Coach Fred Ellis. And the table that we have tonight here, my son Cam, that's Fred's grandson, his wife Jenna, Fred's great-granddaughter Drew, my good buddy Louis for 50 years, Louis Chavez, and then Cal Chavez, also Nick Chavez, his brother, and Nick's lovely fiance Jamie. Thank you, Hall of Fame, and this has been a long time coming, and it's emotional, it tugs. Fred was a mentor to me as well. I actually came here as a sophomore and left here middle of my junior year to go to Columbus, the girls' school down the street, Coach Hammondtree. And I graduated from there and went on to play football in college. But Fred was very instrumental in the trajectory of my career as a trainer and a therapist that I am now. And I learned a lot from him. His son, Scotty, was a GMAC, all-day, all-state pole vaulter. And he held a GMAC record, just to tell you the kind of mentoring Scotty and the coaching Scotty got from his father. Donnie Solinger and Coach Hammondtree will attest to this. We had a rig set up in the backyard of the house. It was a climbing rope. Anyway, Scotty pole vaulted 14.6 in 1979. That record held for almost 30 years till 2006. So from 79 till 2006, he held the GMAC record of 14.6 in the pole vault. And some of the exercises I used to see Coach do, I implemented them as a professional trainer later on in my career, learning from him. But climbing a rope inverted with your feet first, it's kind of helpful to get up there in the air. But Coach Ellis was very innovative, creative, and I know some of you guys out there that had him as coaches and teachers can attest to that fact. He was born in Honolulu, came here to Birmingham, Alabama, where he met his wife Shirley, who lives with us now. She's 94, and she's staying at our house for the last several years. They came down from Orlando, where they retired. Fred and Shirley retired after they left Miami in 1989, after he retired here at Southwest. So Fred and I got some great golfing up in the Orlando area, and the grandkids on the lake catching fish and going to Disney World and barbecues on the deck overlooking the lake. Coach Solly and came up there quite a bit and spent time. And just the stories that are the mind map of this man are incredible. I mean, I can stay up here all night. I won't, but I'm going to tell you a Fredism. I mean, did you ever hear Rowdy Dowdy? We're going to get Rowdy Dowdy. That was his party mantra when he was ready to get loose. But he loved the bebop era, the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. We grew up in the greatest of all times, I think. And Arbetters, Frankie's, Lums, Tropicare Drive-In. But we have tonight with us, our family. And one story I want to share with you all and I'll leave. A little piece of Miami trivia. Tropical Park harness racing course. Fred would teach here, coach here, and leave and go to Tropical Park after it was raised. The Tropical Park harness track was taken down, and the concrete stadium was all piled up and being hauled off of the site and charged to the county. So Fred decided in his mind, he had his vision. He said, hold on, let's take that pile of rubble, that remnants of that concrete, over to the south side of the park, and I want you to configure this hill. And I want this incline here of 22 degrees, this incline here of 24 degrees, and a 3% overspeed runoff area. So that is Ellis Hill, which some of you I may have already had a conversation with back in 2010. We are in the fourth quarter right now of getting the hill at Tropical Park named Coach Ellis Hill. And it's going to be, that's in the county. District 10 is looking at it. Anthony Rodriguez and his assistant, Samantha Davalier. They have the verbiage on a plaque and it's being edited. And like I said, it's in the fourth quarter. It's going to get pushed through and over the line. And we'll have you guys emailed so you can be out there and be a part of that celebration too when that happens. And just want to thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you for allowing me to speak. And I miss this place too. I won my first JV wrestling match here my sophomore year. A Penda Gables kid right here in this. This was probably the most spirited high school that I've ever been associated with. I've been in a lot of high school, gyms and fields and so forth, and played. Very highly spirited people here and population of Southwest. Very proud to be starting my high school career here. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good evening.
Our next inductee is the only athlete in Southwest history to be named the county's #1 player in her sport all 4 years of high school. Amy Dillon, now Amy Dillon Bruce, is from the class of '97. As a junior, there were not enough girls to field a team, so she bowled with the boys' team and was still high scorer before injuring her knee. Southwest Silver Knight nominee in athletics, Amy averaged 195 her senior year. She represented our school at the annual Emerging Leaders Conference, and as a sophomore, represented Florida at the Junior National Finals in New York. She went on to bowl at Wichita State University, a school that had won more national championships in bowling than any other college. At WSU, Amy was named second-team All-American and bowled a perfect 300 game. She bowled professionally after college and is already a member of Florida's Junior Bowling Hall of Fame. Let's take a look at the video screen as we remember the career of Amy Dillon Bruce. Please welcome to the Southwest Sports Hall of Fame, Amy Dillon Bruce.
So I didn't really prepare a speech because I'm that person, but there is one person here, and I don't know where he's at, but I saw him earlier, Coach Wild. Where are you? Stand up. You actually need to come up here. Come up here. So Coach Wild was like my second father, and he wanted to make sure I would be okay, so he followed me all the way through high school. So I had him my 7th grade, 8th grade, and then I went to Southwest, and he followed me to make sure I was okay. At least that's what I tell myself. And he made sure all of my projects moved along every year with him, even way after I graduated. A lot of my projects stayed in his class. So thank you, Coach Wild, for everything. I love you, because you're like literally like my second father, and I'm so glad you're here tonight. Bowling's not the sport that many people think that get a lot of recognition, so I appreciate being nominated. Joe Hasselback actually nominated me, and he's not here tonight, and he was one of the football players that played with a lot of the basketball players that are here tonight. So I just want to say thank you for recognizing a sport that doesn't get a lot of recognition. And yes, I went on and bowled professionally in college and just carried on. It carried me through a lot of times in my life. It paid a lot of my bills, a lot of them, and I loved it. And it did a lot for me, and it paid for my college and everything like that. So I just want to thank everybody that's here. Richard Rump for also being a big part of that, and his family too for many years. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate everybody that's here and everybody that nominated me. So thank you.
Our next inductee is from the class of 2001. Tiffany Orr, now Tiffany Clark, was a dominating pitcher for our softball team. As a freshman, she was second team All-Dade. 1 year later, Tiffany was named the county's top softball player in Class 6A after batting .500 and achieving an ERA of 0.95. As both a junior and senior, she was first team All-State and recorded 202 strikeouts her 12th grade season. She went on to play junior college ball at Indian River and tossed a no-hitter against Miami-Dade her sophomore year. Tiffany led the Lady Pioneers to not just the state, but the national championship in 2002, earning MVP honors in each tournament. She was a two-time first-team National Junior College Athletic Association All-American and participated on the NJCAA All-Star team at the 2003 Canada Cup. Tiffany then played at FIU, where she set 2 school strikeout records. In 2007, she was inducted into Indian River's Hall of Fame, and in 2016, she was inducted into the Florida College System Activities Association Softball Hall of Fame. Please take a look at the video board as we remember the career of Tiffany Orr Clark.
Wow, such an honor. To say thank you wouldn't be enough to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So thank you for your love and your support. A couple of people to thank. My coach, Maria Alvarez, Stephanie Nunez, Ritz Diaz. Those are the ones who impacted my life. I am blessed to have Southwest as one of the greatest influences in my life and in softball, from my coaches to my teammates. I also want to thank my first coaches, my mother and my father. Without them, I would not be up here, and I thank you guys. Those are some great memories. A couple of impactful memories was my sophomore year of our training season. Maria Alvarez, during my pitching time, came up to me and said, "So what college do you want to go to?" I don't know, I'm in only 10th grade. She said, "Get on it, hurry up, because you're gonna be going to college." I said, "Okay." So 2 years later, I ended up at Indian River. And best time of my life is softball has not only taught me life experiences, but just how to be a team player all around. Thank you so much, and thank you to Mike Rosenthal, who made this all happen.
Tiffany mentioned her parents. I also want to mention that her mom, Teresa, has been a supporter of our Hall of Fame since our first year 2 years ago, because she works at Bird Bowl and writes the checks for the ads there. So we want to thank Teresa for her continued support. Well, we are down to our final inductee, and it's going to be a big one. The entire 2004 Southwest softball team, the only girls team in school history to win a state championship. In 2003, we were one game away from going to state, but we lost to Palmetto 1-0 in the regional championship game. 1 year later, though, it was an Eagles-Panthers rematch, with the winner going to the state Final Four. The game went 11 innings, tied 1-1, but in the top of the 11th, Elise Rico's two-run double gave Southwest the lead, and Missy Penna retired the Panthers in order to complete a 21 strikeout win, sending the Eagles to Tampa. The state semifinal game against Valrico Bloomingdale was another extra inning affair. This one went to the 9th inning scoreless until Leanne Penna singled home Monique Williams with the only run of the contest to send Southwest to the state championship game. That one was easy, though. They beat Cypress Bay 8-0 to take home the state championship. Please take a look at the video screen as we remember their championship season. It was not easy, but 21 years later, we were able to locate and contact all 16 players and 4 coaches, thanks to Maria Alvarez for her help. 4 players were unable to make it tonight, and we will ship them their awards. They are Courtney Graves, Amanda Purvis, Jessica Shuley, and Monique Williams. Also not with us tonight, head coach Ritz Diaz. I'm now going to introduce the rest of the team alphabetically by maiden name. And ladies, as I come up and announce your name, you can wait over here for a moment. Sandy Acevedo Millington. Melissa Bass Almeida. Fallon Fabiano Hollingsworth. Noemi Luciani Cotto. Nicole Menendez Cavallo. Ali Meneses. Stephanie Ospina Musino. Leanne Penna. Missy Penna. Melissa Reiner. Elise Rico. Jackie Yaniga. And the coaches, Maria Alvarez, Iris Gonzalez, and Michelle Parks. Mr. Cunningham, can you get far enough away to get everyone in the picture? Let me. I told the ladies beforehand that we weren't going to have time for each individual acceptance speech, but maybe if there's a few of you who would like to speak tonight, come on up. Coach Maria Alvarez.
Good evening. It is truly an honor to be here tonight. We thank the committee and all of you that made it possible for us to be here. These group of girls worked extremely hard. They came to practice all the time, wanting to get better. They didn't like it, but they came to practice to get better. They worked extremely hard, and they definitely deserve every accolade that they have earned. But most importantly, they've made us proud by who they have become today. They're business owners, they are nurses, they're Capitol Police, they are CBS sports artists, they're engineers, they're stay-at-home moms. So we're grateful and honored. And I really couldn't have done this without the help of two kids that I had also coached along the way, with Michelle Parks and Iris Gonzalez. Though these kids were hugely successful, they couldn't have done it without the help of their parents, who waited long hours to pick up their kids. They drove them to insane practice sites, crazy neighborhoods, and everything in between. All the fundraisers to help us get there. We weren't that rich school. We were a group of kids from a middle-class neighborhood who did not have personal coaches. These kids worked extremely hard to earn it. They said it couldn't be done, and they proved everyone wrong. What Mike didn't say in his speech on that Palmetto game, Courtney Graves had gotten to second. She'd gotten base hit. Fallon had moved her over. They had walked Missy Penna. Elise comes to the plate, call a timeout, and I say to Elise, "What do you want to do?" She looks at me and says, "Oh, hell no, I'm not bunting." She goes on to hit the ball against the fence that put us to the state championship. But those moments are what got us there. So thank you. And I personally thank Stephanie Nunez and Karen Cohn and Cheryl Golden, who's not here, who were the ones that brought me to Southwest High School. So thank you.
Each of you ladies have an award on this table over here. And on top of, make sure you take the bag on top of the award with your name on it, because that will have the polo shirt with the appropriate size. And I don't want to take the time right now, but they're right there. And on your way back to your seats, you can grab yours. So that brings our evening to a close. A heartfelt thanks again to our sponsors, the Mertz Law Group, Coastal Construction, the Riley Law Firm, and AHF Design Studio. You are welcome to take the orchids on your table with you, but please leave the little hearts with the QR codes so we can reuse them next year. Inductees, please take the frames at your table. And we'd also like all the inductees to gather for one group photo before leaving tonight. Thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to having you back in a year for our 4th annual induction dinner. Good night.